Hi and welcome to Power and Freedom. I'm Alana Hunt and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's a nice-ish day here today. I'm clearly wearing something summery and I do that every chance I get. Having grown up in New Zealand, I was always within about 10 minutes of the beach, and so now living in England, although I'm not near the beach, I'm very excited every time the sun comes out and try and do my best to enjoy it, at least for part of the day. So welcome and thank you for being here today. I'm going to do another quote of the day, which I've been doing for a while now, but I thought I would step out of the box and share somebody else's quote rather than using mine. I'm going to actually use a quote today from Dr. Wayne Dyer. So for those of you who are familiar with him, he was really at the forefront of a lot of the personal developmental self-help things that happened. He wrote books and he traveled the country with his books, and he was really considered a spiritual leader. He died a couple of years ago, but one of his most famous quotes goes like this: "If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change." Now, it's a little bit of a mouthful. I mean, it's kind of the same words, but they're moved around the other way, aren't they? And I'd be really interested if you do have an idea of what this quote means. By all means, drop me a little comment and let me know your understanding of this quote. It's one that, if you've been around the sort of, self-help or personal development world, you've probably seen this one pop up in your timeline. In fact, you've probably seen it more than once. But what does it mean? And I wanted to kind of start with a little bit of a conversation about how your brain works, which is kind of a strange thing to do on a live here, I guess. But if I give you a little bit of background about actually how your brain is designed to help you in your life and how it's actually designed to work, it'll help to understand, or help you understand what we can do to change what we see, or to change the way we look at things. But there's a thing that kind of sometimes gets in our way. And even if we want to see more positive things in the world, or we want to see things differently, or we're tired of being bombarded with negativity, or we just want to get out of the groove that we're in, sometimes we have to do a little bit of work to do that. And the reason for that is not that you're doing anything wrong, or that it isn't that you don't want to enough. It's actually part of how your brain is designed to work. Your brain is like a supercomputer in a way. And if you've ever heard the I guess it's a little saying, it says garbage in, garbage out, which is kind of a little bit harsh. But what we're saying here is what we put into our brain is kind of what we see. So when we look at Dr. Wayne Dyer's quote, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. We have to begin to see things differently. Otherwise, our brain is going to keep showing us the same thing over and over again. That's its job. That's its programming. We learn things when we're children, and we still believe a lot of those things when we're growing up. Maybe not all of them, but there's a lot of fundamentals that we believe to be true that we've been taught. And our brain will go, okay, that's a fact, that's a piece of information, so I'm going to go out and I'm going to find examples that match what I already think. A lot of people talk about something called limiting beliefs, and you may have heard the phrase. I tend not to use it too much because I think, most people don't really understand what that means. But ultimately, this is kind of it. It's a bit like your supercomputer is programmed with a set of information or a set of understandings, and as you go through your life, it will show you examples of how those things are true. So what happens is that we believe something about the world, or about the people around us, or about ourselves. And as we go through life, we will see and recognize examples of how that is true. So let me see if I can give you an example. So if you, for example, feel like every time you go into a room full of new people, everybody ignores you and nobody really wants to talk to you. Let's see where this example goes. I'm making it up on the fly, so let's see how we go. But if that's your understanding, and perhaps that's happened to you a couple of times, maybe it happened in one particular event a long, long time ago that you probably don't even remember, your brain has learned that when you go into an environment with people you don't know, that you feel isolated, that nobody wants to talk to you. So every time you go into a room, that's exactly what you see, because that's what your brain's expecting to see. And you will always, always, always see what you expect to see. The fact is that when you walked in, there would quite possibly been people in the room who looked up and saw you come in and were interested to make eye contact and possibly to say, hey, come and join us, or have gone, actually, you know what, this person's come in, doesn't look like she knows anybody, or doesn't look like he knows anybody, I'm going to go over and say hi. So, that may all be happening in that room. And it's very likely that those sorts of things do happen, and certainly the host may feel that way. It might be that somebody is kind of hiding in the back somewhere and you just can't see them. But all of those things exist as possibilities in that room. But when you walk in and you already know, when I say know, I mean, that's how strongly you understand it to be and how deeply programmed your brain can be, that what happens is that you don't see the people who want to make eye contact. You don't see the person who's hiding in a group round the back and has actually looked up trying to catch your eye and gesture you over and say, hey, come join us. You don't see them. Not because they're not there, but because your brain is looking for examples to validate and prove that what you already believe is true. Now, whether that's the best example to use or not, but I wanted to try and demonstrate it in a way that you can really see that sometimes what we think we see is only a little part of the truth, or in fact what we're seeing is not true at all. You can go into that room and you just know, you absolutely know that nobody's going to talk to you. In fact, you've been into rooms of groups of people so many times and had the same experience that you just stop doing it now, because you don't want to put yourself in that environment. And the other day I was talking about, there are certain situations we don't want to put ourselves in because it makes us feel uncomfortable, or it makes us feel less than who we are. And this could be one of those situations where you may very well decide that this is not something that makes you comfortable, that you're just not going to do it again because it makes you feel really uncomfortable. But you know what? What if you made a different choice? What if you said, well, okay, so Alana said to me today, let's just use me. We'll put her on my shoulders here. But Alana said to me, maybe when I walk into that room, that there's more going on than what I see. And I say every single time I come on here live, and I talk about it all the time about questions. And so if you open your mind to the possibility that there could be something else that you're not seeing, or you didn't see the last 5 times that you walked into the room. And you know what, this is a message for me as well, because although I'm really comfortable sitting here on the camera talking to you guys, I'm not always that comfortable walking into a room full of people I don't know. I'm much better at it than I used to be, but I still have my times where I think, oh God, no one's going to talk to me. So, sometimes we hear ourselves say what we need to remember or to learn ourselves anyway. So interesting that I've picked that example. But yeah, if you were going into a room full of people you didn't know, and then all of a sudden you went, wow, Alana said there could be something here, or you know what, I'm going to open my mind to the possibility that it isn't how I thought it was going to be, that actually there's something else happening here. The minute you do that, you start to see all those other things that were already there. So this is when this quote of Wayne Dyer's comes in. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I always have trouble with that one. But if you open your mind to the possibility that what you think you see is only part of the truth, or that there's more to see than you first thought, then suddenly you see something different. And so this is actually how our brain works, and we have to actually physically, mentally focus on the fact that it could be different than what we think. It kind of reminds me of a story that I heard quite a long time ago, or a while ago, and let me see if I can remember it. The story goes that many years ago on a South American continent, or on a South American island, Karen, there was a tribe, and there was the chief, and the chief of the tribe And every day he would wander down to the beach and he would look out across the ocean to the horizon. And from where he was, he could see really nothing much other than just, the horizon out there. And he would come down with some of the other elders in the tribe, and they would hang out on the beach. And every day he went there, it looked the same. Okay, the storm clouds would come in and things would change a little bit, but fundamentally everything looked the same. And every time he looked at that horizon, he just saw the water, he saw the sky, he saw the clouds, and he enjoyed his view. He loved where he lived. And so he would do this every day. And then one day, when he walked down the beach, as he did every other day, and he was looking out at the horizon, he saw exactly what he had always seen. Nothing appeared to be different. And then something kind of struck him. And as he was looking out on the horizon and on the water, he saw these ripples on the surface of the water. And he's looking at it and he's going, I've never seen that before. I wonder what's going on there. And he's thinking, well, if the water's rippling in that way and it's never done that before, something must be causing those ripples. So let's just stop here for a minute before I tell you the rest of the story and use this to illustrate the point of today. So ultimately, he's looking at the horizon, he's seeing what he expects to see, what he always sees. And in a moment, he sees something slightly different. And in that moment, he asks the question, or he makes a statement that goes, if there's something there, if there's those ripples happening on the water, something must be creating it. So in that moment, what he does is he opens his mind to the possibility that something is different. And the story goes that in the moment he does that, suddenly in front of him appears the Spanish Armada. A fleet of ships on the horizon. And you kind of think, well, they were there all the time. How could he not see them? He didn't see them. He'd never seen a ship before. He'd never actually knew what a ship looked like. And so his brain couldn't actually see it. And remembering that our eyes are not what actually sees, it's actually our brain that sends the messages to our eyes to, it comes through our eyes, but it's actually our brain, excuse me, that processes it. As unbelievable as that sounds, often we have to have a frame of reference to see something different. So if you've never seen a fleet of ships before, your brain doesn't know what it's seeing. The fact that he saw the ripples told him something was there. And in that question, he realized he was able to see this fleet of ships on the horizon. Of course, then he's scrabbling, going, oh my goodness, what's going on? And we know that the Spanish did invade South America, and that, life for them changed enormously. But it's a fantastic story to really demonstrate the power of your brain. And the fact that if you open your mind to the possibility of something else, your brain will go searching for it. That's its job. Its job is to keep delivering what it knows, until you create the possibility for something else. And when you do that, the minute you create the possibility for something else, it's there. It's right there in front of you. You just didn't see it before. And, so that's why I kind of wanted to start with the story about your brain, or how your brain actually works. And if we go back to Dr. Wayne Dyer's quote and we say, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, that's exactly what happened with the South American chief. As he looked again, because he saw something on the water that he hadn't seen before, and as he looked again and went, something's different, his brain went, what's there? What's there? And so although his brain had never seen a ship before, the message was nonetheless sent that there's something different here. And in that moment, he was suddenly able to see all those ships. So I guess the message for today, if we look at the quote, it's about, as you go through life, you're automatically going to keep being shown the same things. That's your brain's job. This is not about you trying harder. This is not about you going, I just keep seeing the world is so difficult. There's so much negativity. Every day on the news, I hear this. So we just keep seeing the same thing. We keep putting ourselves in the same situations and we keep seeing the same thing. Do yourself a favor. Look again. Surround yourself something different. Open your mind to the possibility that there is something more, that there is something you're not seeing. And in the moment you do that, you will start to see differently. It really is. It's not about just looking through your eyes. It's about asking those questions. It's about opening your mind, opening your eyes, opening your heart, opening your brain to the possibility that there is something more. You know, the next time you're out and about, next time you're watching TV or you're seeing the same thing showing up in your Facebook feed, or you'll just see the same thing keep coming up over and over again. The friends that you have that maybe think the same way as you or have similar opinions to you or have similar interests to you, that's what's going to show up in your news feed. Go get some new friends. Go out and search for some new content. Go look for inspirational videos. Go look for stories that are amazing, that are transformational, and start liking those pages. Start liking the videos. You know, send lots of love to my videos, to the other people out there who want to help you to grow and to find the happiness that you deserve. You know, start shifting your focus. Start actively going out and looking for something else. And as you do that, you'll see more of those things. Those things that were kind of making you sad or not adding to your happiness, or that you thought were everywhere and that's all there was, suddenly those things will disappear out of your timeline and you'll start to see great positive things. And this works in the real world as well as the digital world. Perhaps you can say, well, we can thank the Facebook algorithm for the fact that, you know, that suddenly if we start liking things differently, Facebook goes, oh, this person likes this, and they'll show us more of that. That's exactly how the Facebook algorithm works. But it's also exactly how your brain works. So, funny, I just made that realization in that moment. I hadn't thought about it like that before, but you know, that's a really great way to kind of connect the dots. Facebook is going to show you what you show that you're interested in. Your brain is going to show you what you show that you're interested in. It's a really hard sentence to say. So, shifting your focus, deliberately choosing to look at different things opens up the possibility of more. So if you don't like what you're seeing, if you don't like the results that are showing up in your life, go look at something else. Go find something else to look at, something else to grab your attention, something else to surround yourself with. And as you do, you will see different things. You really, truly will. It is how your brain works. And so if you want to see something different, you have to kind of trick your brain in a way. You have to expand your vision. You have to look at something differently in a deliberate, conscious way. Otherwise, your brain will just keep showing you exactly the same thing that you've always seen. So that's the quote for today. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. Thanks to Wayne Dyer for that quote. And thank you very much for watching. What I'm hoping that you can take away from today is a couple of stories, a couple of examples of how this can work, you know, in a real way in your life. And that by opening your mind and asking those questions, or choosing to surround yourself differently, choosing to look again when you think you're seeing something. Next time you go into a room, Alana, next time you go into a room of people that you don't know, look for the people who are looking up to catch your eye, to say, hey, come on over and join us. You know, have a look for those ships on the horizon, or, you know, those wonderful things that are in our world that we don't always get exposed to, that we have to sometimes go looking for. And that's a really sad thing to say, but they are out there. All you have to do is go look differently, go find them, surround yourself with them, and what you see around you will change. You will build more positivity, you can build more happiness, you can build more joy, more connection, and more of the things that you want in your life. You just have to start seeing them. Thanks so much for being here, and I will see you again very soon.